Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shaun of the Dead here. I wanted to do a quick little video on. I know I've been talking about bugging in. I had bugging in 101, bugging in 102 to kind of take it to the next step of a couple of things, food for thought. Thanks for you guys that's been commenting on my videos. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, new subscribers. Welcome to the Shaun of the Dead family here. And the zombie survival squad of Shaun of the Dead. I appreciate that, you guys. I appreciate all the comments that you guys have. I like the recommendation on the phone books. Extremely good idea. I really like that. And as you know, I'm pretty lighthearted for the most part, and people like to cut up and stuff. I like that. I can take a joke. It's not a problem. As always, I try to stay unoffensive if at all possible for the most part. I know that some things offend certain people, but some things can't be helped. Whatever I believe in the Second Amendment and somebody else doesn't, that might offend them. In that situation, I don't care. But I don't purposefully go out with intent to try to hurt people's feelings. So I know that a lot of my stuff is geared towards your average prepper or your average survivalist or concepts in just bugging in general. That are all great. They're fine and dandy. But there's one little flaw in that. It doesn't keep the person in mind that has to have a budget. If you don't have a lot of money, but you want to survive, a zombie apocalypse, what do you do? What do you do? Well, I'll tell you what you can do. Okay, now let's get started on this. It's very, very important to have a few certain things. Dave Canterbury talks about, I believe they're the 3 C's of survival or something like that. I believe it's cutting implement, combustion, which is your fire-making tool, and then cordage. If you have those 3 things, then you can pretty much survive in the wild if you're Dave freaking Canterbury, who is really, really awesome at what he does. He's one of my favorite all-time survivalists. He is actually... no offense, Dave, but you're my 3rd favorite. You're my top 3. My favorite survivalist is Ron Hood, the late Ron Hood. Dude was fantastically awesome. Next is Michael Hawk, and then after that is Dave Canterbury. And anyone after that has kind of inconsequential to me, really. I picked 3, and there was only 2 left living. It's Michael Hawk and Dave Canterbury, so if I was wanting to learn from any particular people, it'd be them. Although, small caveat, if I was wanting to learn about desert survival or how to make a freaking awesome fire out of, a fart or nothing, I would talk to Cody Lundeen, because that's the 2 things that guy's got really going for him. Yeah, I don't like the whole hippie thing, even though I have long hair. No, I'm not a hippie. I'm a little bit more hoorah as far as that's concerned. But Cody Lundeen can really assist you in a desert scenario. He knows his wild edibles. He knows how to find water. He knows what the desert has to offer. And that mug can make fire like nobody's business with the most wet tinder I've seen people make fire with. So if I want to make fire, or if I want to survive in the desert, I will talk to Cody Lundeen. That's my only caveat outside of my 3 choices. And I only have 2 remaining because, unfortunately, Ron Hood has left us and has passed away. That's my quick little statement on that. Now, back to the show. We're talking about budget survival, budget bugging in. We're talking about poor man's prepping. I guess this would be a good name for this episode. Is called Poor Man's Prepping. I might be the richest guy in the world, but some of the gear that I use is rather salty because I've saved up for it, or I decided I wanted to go ahead and just buy something good and buy a piece here and there versus just getting everything that I need all at once just like that because I just can't afford it. Because I'm not uber rich by any means, So what I did was, I've heard about different people doing different things with the dollar store and all that. And I did check out the dollar store. And I want to show you something that I built. I put this little thing together. There's only a few things in here that have not come from the dollar store. Well, I call it the dollar store. It's actually the 99-cent store, where everything in there is like $1 or 2 for $1 or whatever. This bag was $1. Inside this bag, let's get into this here. This has some hand wipes, some gauze, Band-Aids. It's got 4 flexi-slip Band-Aids, hard plastic case, and then it's got 2 other flexible Band-Aids, the larger size, well, regular size, actually, the other ones were smaller size. 2 hand sanitizing wipes, and I think that's it for $1. So just a little first aid kit, you know. I went after Halloween a few years back, and the store had anything that was left over you could throw into a plastic or into a paper bag for $5. So I filled up a bag with glow sticks. So I have a glow stick in there, just to have something extra to give you some light. Glow stick. Out of an MRE, part of the 3 C's of survival, waterproof matches, and toilet paper. So I actually have, if I don't use the toilet paper for actual toilet paper, I can use it for actual tinder. So I can use that and waterproof matches. So that's what's in my front pouch, is a light source, first aid kit, fire making equipment. Then in the main pouch, and this is a pretty thin, light little backpack. I made this as a prototype. I just wanted to see what I could do for cheap, and just give somebody a little something something. I picked up, these are, there's 2 disposable gloves and plastic drop cloth, and it's 9 by 12 foot. So it has gloves and drop cloth. That's not bad. I mean, that makes me feel pretty good. 99 cents. So another $1. Also, aluminum water bottle. Now, I don't recommend boiling your water in aluminum. In a pinch, if you absolutely have to, then you have to. But it's not good to boil and heat your things in aluminum. So don't do it if you can help it. So yeah, just your basic little water bottle. If you already have purified water, then you have, you know, a good device to carry your water around with you, and you can drink your water. Not a problem. So we have that. A little flashlight, a little LED flashlight. And it's got, you know, multiple little LED bulbs on it for $1. Some cordage I had around the house. So I got some, let's try to straighten this up here, it's a little rat's nest. There. Some white nylon cordage. And then last but not least, I believe I picked up a 2-pack of these at Harbor Freight. Now I can't remember if it was $5 or $10 for the pack, but it's a small little multi-tool. I've used my multi-tool for things. I've used my survival knife for things, like my Swiss Army one. So I use some stuff, so I try to keep really, really good gear if I can, because I use it a lot. If you don't use it a lot, you don't have to have really expensive gear if you use it. Oh, I have something bad happen. Let me go ahead and use this real quick. You can go ahead and utilize this. So you have your cutting tool in here, you have your cordage, and you have your combustion. So you have your 3 C's of survival. You can make a shelter, catch rainwater, you know, do multiple things with drop cloth. And it has gloves, so you can use that to help transport water. That's nice. So, you know, and all these items fit in this light little backpack that I picked up for $1 also. So, you know, and it has 2 little compartments in it. And I was pretty amazed on how well this actually worked out. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, I was like, wow, I'm pretty impressed. So this little thing here cost, what was that, um, $6 or something? And that includes the actual bag itself. So not bad. That's pretty cheap. Now, you can skip the little first aid thing and put a bottle of peroxide or rubbing alcohol for $1, just a box of Band-Aids in there, a box of Tylenol in there, or a bottle of Tylenol in there from the 99-cent store, and spend $3 on your first aid, and you have plenty of it. You get first aid tape, things like that. You can pick up bungee cords, things like that. There's other little things you could put in here if you wanted to kind of, fluff this up a bit more, but this is your essentials. Just your basic essentials for your first aid kit. Now, that being said, let's talk about your home now. All right, so for $25, you can get a barricade for your door. They're a telescoping, collapsible tube that has like little knobs on it that you can adjust the length of. On the back end, it has a foot that has a little grip surface that you can put it on flat surface, smooth surface, or carpet. And then it has the shaft, and then it has a fork in the front and the top that it grabs onto the doorknob. And it's like putting a chair underneath the doorknob. So you lock that into place, and you can put it in there. Now, is it going to keep a big dude from kicking in the door? So, maybe not. So, why have it? Because it'll take them more than one kick to do it. Instead of one person busting in your door in the middle of the night with just one good kick, and they're just now rampaging through your house, it might take them 2 or 3 good kicks. It might be enough of a deterrent that they kick it one good time and they crack your door. They're like, crap, that's pretty hard. I'm not going to do that again. So at least it's a deterrent, if not a stop. So in a zombie situation, at least it's something. And it's like $25. So it's not horribly expensive, but it's a little peace of mind. And that's something you can just do starting now. Just put that there. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and there's a zombie attack going on, at least you have an automatic barricade on your door. You might want to replace it and really barricade the door in, yes. But just as a precautionary barricade, just to stick up there, why not? It's cheap, and it's a peace of mind, and it's a piece of durable good that that you can take with you to other residents if you decide to move from one place to another. So you don't have to it's not a fixture. It's transportable. It's great. Now let's talk about food preps and water preps. If you live in a house, at least you have hot water heater in most cases, 10, 20-gallon hot water heater, so at least you have some backup water. Everybody else only has what's in their toilet tank if you're an apartment, so you have to bring water in. You can go to Walmart and pick up 24-pack of water, usually for $2.50, $3. That's pretty cheap. It's not so bad. And you stack those up in your closet or wherever you want to stick them. And if you go to the grocery store, a good rule is go to the grocery store and just buy a few things extra of what you normally would buy. If you're going to buy 4 cans of this, buy 7 cans of it. And next time you go to the grocery store, if you're going to buy 4 cans of that or 5 cans of that, buy another 7 cans of that. And just put back 3 or 4 cans here and there every time you go to the grocery store. And it doesn't cost you a lot. It costs you $3 or $4 every time you go to the grocery store, maybe $5, $6, $7. And you can put all these things back and grow your thing. Now, if you're wanting to put something back now, go and get the generic. Go and just get a bunch of cheaper generic stuff, stock up on generic, and then you have some ramen noodles and stuff. It will keep you alive, get some multivitamins, and you're kind of good. The reason for that is that way you can have preps on hand. Having preps on hand always makes things a lot easier for you in the transition, because you don't want to have to worry about going, oh gee, I'm going to have plenty of preps in 6 months. I'll have 6 months worth of food. Yay! Well, I don't want to wait 6 months to have 6 months worth of food. It's a long time. What if something happens tomorrow? Now what am I going to do? I'm screwed. Yeah, you kind of are. Well, if you go and you buy stuff at the 99-cent store, they might have 2 cans for $1. You go get great value at Walmart, the cheap generic crap. It might be like 75 or 60 cents a can, so you can buy, several cans for just a few bucks. Well, if you come back with a flat of generic Chef Boyardee that cost you less than $1 each, if you can get 3 for $2, that's not too bad, and you can stock up a nice little stockpile of food that will last you a few weeks for little or nothing. You can go in there literally for $50 and probably walk out with, getting cans of refried beans, chili, ramen noodles, things that you can mix together. Some Spam is a little bit more expensive, but you can utilize it. If you have a family, you can dice it up into multiple servings and put it in with your ramen noodles and really eat like freaking white trash for a while, and just kind of rock it out. So you can use these things, and if you have multivitamins on hand, even if you're eating something that's going to be deficient in some things, that will help you from getting malnutrition because you're eating a pretty singular diet. So you do that, and buy yourself a big package of, buy yourself an extra big package of toilet paper and just put it away. Forget you have it. Buy yourself an extra, little toilet articles. Even if you got to get some cheap generic crap ones that you just don't like to use, as you want something better, just keep that as your backup preps, and that's it. Because you'll be glad you had it at some point. I usually try to recommend buying what you normally buy, and then you can just rotate your stock in. So you always have fresh stuff in your preps, and you're always eating stuff that's still fresh, and you're using your goods that are still newer. I mean, even though toilet paper is not really going to expire, it's still, you can still always rotate that also, and that way at least have what you're accustomed to. Which would give you a little bit of peace of mind, a little bit of morale than if you're using some cheap, crappy, one-ply, always save junk or something like that. But if you're just trying to prep up for something, at least you have something. If not aforementioned by other people that you've seen before, paper plates, plasticware. If there's something that you can eat off of those, then you can throw that away, and you don't have to waste your water to clean dishes. You just pitch it. So that's always a nice little thing also. One other thing that you definitely need to get, baby wipes. These things are great. I think I mentioned these in one of my other videos before. This was like $1 or less at Walmart, and this thing is freaking huge. It's got 84 wipes in it. I use it when I clean my guns. I got it hooked on it. As I get oil and I get solvent all over my hands, because I'll take the solvent and I'll get in there and I'll break all the carbon loose and stuff and clean things out, and then I'll clean my hands off with baby wipes, and then and especially if it's on my polymer. Most of my guns are polymer. Even this is polymer. It's not wood. So I'll wipe off any excess that's on my firearms on the polymer portion with baby wipes, and then I wipe it down with a paper towel to dry off the plastic to keep it from being slip and slimy. And then whenever I put some gun oil and stuff, my treated cloth on my guns, I'll utilize that, and then I'll get the oil off my hands with the baby wipes. So I utilize those to keep my hands clean. So as I'm handling my firearm from one thing to the next, and from one gun to the next, I can keep my hands clean, so I can keep a good grip on what I'm holding on to, so parts don't slip out of my hands as I start to disassemble the firearms. So I like to keep baby wipes around because and that's why they're right here, because I clean my guns right here. So that's why they're here. So that way you can do that, but you can keep your body clean. I have aunt and uncle that used to be team truckers. They would, they used to tag team drive, and so sometimes they'd have to go 2 or 3 days before they would get to a truck stop that they could, actually stop and get a shower at. So who wants to go 2 or 3 days without a shower, cooped up, especially with another person that's going 2 or 3 days without a shower, right? And you're just kind of sitting in there, with the sun beating in on you or whatever. Well, what are you going to do? you whip out some baby wipes. You can at least clean off your pits, your crotch, things like that. You can keep your hands clean and your face clean, which is great because you clean off your privates, you clean off your armpits, so at least you don't get too funky. And then, you can wash your face and your hands. And you're like, okay, well, at least I feel fresh. And then you can handle your food because you've cleaned yourself at this point. So it gives you that opportunity to actually really clean yourself up, which is outstanding. And so you can take yourself a baby wipe bath and keep yourself at least hygienic so you're not going to suffer too greatly. And it's cheap. I mean, a buck for, 84 wipes, and say it takes you, you use one wipe for your crotch, and, if you start at your armpits and then you work your way down, and then you use one at the end for your hands and your face, well, that's only 2 wipes per cleaning. So that's 2 wipes a day. That's not bad. That's all right. That's 41 days of was what 80 was that 81 82 wipes? Oh, 84 wipes. So 42 days. This is a month's worth of bathing in dire straits. So that's not bad. That's one of the ways that you can kind of prepare yourself for different things. And I know I mentioned hygiene a couple of times. Hygiene is important to a point, and a lot of people are always talking about hygiene. But at the same time, I'm a dude, and I've been in dudes' bathrooms. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in the bathroom, and I go in there to take a piss, and there's some dude in the stall, grunting and groaning, and just blowing it up, right? He's like, and I'm like, whoa, dude, oh man, this is burning my eyes. And he's just like, oh, this is horrible, dude. Man, didn't you just do that at home? For real? And dude comes out of there, strutting like $1,000,000, walks right out the door, doesn't bother washing his hands. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Motherfucker's wearing a suit. Some preppy prick in one of the office buildings or whatever, and he's in there blowing up the toilet and freaking wiping his butt, and then comes on out and he just walks on out the door like no big deal. Whose hands is he going to shake? Do you wash your hands after you meet everybody? Probably not. Most people don't. You forget. You don't think about it. You might not have Purell on hand to go squirt. Okay, I'm clean. I try to because I work with the public a lot and I work in a doctor's office, so I try to Purell my hands pretty rapidly because I'm always touching something that's there, and you never know who's sick or whatever that's coming in. People are complaining about this or that. Even though he's a psychiatrist, not a family doctor, people still come in and you hear them coughing and they're like, ugh. Well, here's your stuff, and I'm like, thanks, this is wet. It's like they hand you wet money, and I'm like, where was this? I was like, never mind, I don't want to know. Squirt, but most of the time whenever you're out in public, I mean, you go to a restaurant, people, walk in and out of the restroom all the time. They don't wash their hands at public places. And you shake hands with these people. You meet somebody for the first time, hey, did that guy just come back from the bathroom? Is his hand wet or is his hand dry? You're touching somebody else's junk, and you don't get sick and die. So, hygiene is necessary to a point, but the main reason I talk about hygiene, it's because of the morale boost. It's not because that you need to have something so sanitary and be locked in a clean little bubble. It's because if you feel clean, it makes you feel better about who you are. It makes you feel human. Whenever you're out of control in a situation, if you can control something, it makes you feel better. So if you can wash yourself off, if you're like, man, I feel gross, I'm going to take 4 or 5 wipes and I'm just going to wipe my whole self down, wash my feet. I'm going to do the whole 9 yards. I'm going to squeeze one of these things into my hair, and try to rinse my hair out if I can, and you just do the whole 9. Hey, you get done with that, if you use a half a thing of wipes, whoopie freaking do. As long as at the end of that half a thing of wipes, you're like, I feel good. And you can stretch back and you can actually rest better because you feel like you've done something. That's why I harp on it, is for peace of mind, because we live in a society where we're hyper, sensitive to other people's funk, and we want everything clean and sterilized and whatever. So since we're so hyper clean right now in this weird society we live in, by living in this kind of society, in order to make you feel human, you have to go through your bathing ritual. So this gives you the opportunity to go through a bathing ritual, and that will make you feel better, make you feel more normal. So that's why I talk about hygiene. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do another episode here shortly on some different weapons that you can pick up, particularly firearms, on the lesser scale of cost, but on a good scale of reliability. And that's a really fine line to walk. Because if you pay too little for a firearm, you might be getting something that's junk, but at the same time, you might not be able to afford something that's going to be super awesome. So I can give you some hints on some firearms that are going to be great firearms, but they're not going to break your bank in the process. But when you start getting the firearms, you are going to start to look at more money. So it depends on what your cost is. But also, if you're prepping, remember, you're going to have to spend money to prep. So in prepping alone, that means spending out cash to have things on tap that you can utilize in whatever situation. Now, I recommend, especially if you're a budget prepper, the Poormans prepper, first and foremost, if you possibly can come up with it, buy yourself at least 1 month's worth of food and water. It doesn't have to be a bunch of like foo-foo-y stuff or whatever. Generic, just crap, cheapest crap you can get, something that you can stomach, and water that you can get as cheap as possible, and just stick it back. Because if you're a budget person and you're living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of times there's high turnover rates at places of employment for people that are in that kind of financial situation. And I'm not trying to sound smart, alecky or anything, but very simply, if you lose your job and you're living paycheck to paycheck, then it would be awful nice to have a month's worth of food and water stuck back so you can utilize your money that you have to not buy groceries, but to pay whatever bills that you need to pay, like your electric, your rent, your vehicle, whatever your vehicle situation is, or your transportation, to be able to go out and find a job, to have a phone, so that people can contact you, or if you have Google Voice, so you can use that as your phone number, and they can call you, then you can nix a phone completely and just use your internet, so you can do job searches. It gives you an opportunity to kind of save some money, and you don't have to worry about buying food because you have something. So even if it's not a zombie apocalypse, it could be some other disaster that you're preparing for. So this is Shaun the Dead. As always, stay on topic, and don't forget, subscribe.